more likely than not, he means what he says.
A judge on Thursday would have said no. On Friday, the next day, Friday the 13th, I would have said yes because the West blinked. Blinken was overruled. The Defense Department finally showed a little cojones, okay, a little guts, and they said, do you know what's going on here? Do you know what might happen if we authorize these long-range missiles into the heart of Russia? You don't know. Well, let us tell the president. I think that to the degree that Biden is still approachable, still willing to listen, the military got to him on that day, Thursday, and on Friday, and said, look, the British are coming, the British are coming, the British are coming. And they want authorization to use their long-range strike. Don't give it to them. Now, what was my evidence? It was just what happened. The decision was not to make any decision on that. But then I saw that TASS carried a report, not in the Western media, about Pat Ryder, General Ryder's, he's the Defense Department spokesperson, that same day. Let me just read 2 sentences.
Please.
Pat Ryder told reporters at a regular briefing, quote, I would point you to Defense Secretary Austin's comments at Ramstein last week. He highlighted that there is no capability, no silver bullet that's going to enable Ukraine to succeed. Ryder added that, in Washington's opinion, Ukraine should focus on employing capabilities currently at their disposal in a way that gets them a stronger hand at the negotiating table. So use what you got, Ukraine. You ain't getting any more. And that's the way it came out. Starmer came perhaps expecting authorization to use those Storm Shadow missiles. They can't be used without U.S. technology. He was told, no, we'll talk about it at the UN. So that's a bright spot in an otherwise very dismal outlook.
What do you think Intel, British and American, is informing Prime Minister Starmer and President Biden? Is it counseling against the authorization for the use of long-range missiles, or does it not get into ultimate recommendations? Does it only describe facts on the ground?
Well, Judge, I know a little bit about MI6 and CIA intel.
Right.
And it has been corrupted over the last 2 decades plus, where the directors sniff the prevailing political winds and trim their sails accordingly. Therefore, weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. Therefore, ties between Saddam Hussein and al-Qaeda. Bald-faced lies starting a war. Now, what is it this time? Well, on Thursday, after Putin spoke, and on Friday, they got to the president. That is, the military got to the president, or they got to Jake Sullivan. The London Times is blaming all this, blaming the sensibility in this case on Jake Sullivan. So the military goes to Sullivan. That's one of their avenues to the president. They say, look, this is really crazy. Blinken is out of his gourd. For God's sake, don't let this happen. Don't authorize this stuff. And that's the way it turned out. So I had speculated on that before. Now I've seen Pat Ryder's statement, and now I've seen what the London Times has said. They say it was all Sullivan who said, look, Tony, forget about it. We're not going to authorize this stuff. We're taking Putin seriously. And again, last thing here is that when John Kirby at 11:45 in the morning of Friday the 13th announced to a press, open electronic press conference, he said, look, we're taking Putin's warnings seriously. And that's why we've decided we're not going to make any decision right now. No announcement of anything with respect to weapons that can strike deep inside Russia. He said that we're taking Putin seriously. So maybe someone has an ounce of sanity. Maybe they're listening not only to Putin, but to our military and the British military. And maybe they might even watch our program. Who knows?
Well, they're certainly not listening to Tony Blinken.